You know those triumphant feel-good films that talk about the main character that started from the bottom and worked his or her or its way up to the very top? Well, imagine that but the other way round, and you'll have the subject for today's F1 in a nutshell.
Talking about shit in Formula 1 that nobody likes, it's in a nutshell!
One of Formula 1's most important Wait, hold on a second. God, this place is ugly. Oh, that's better. One of Formula 1's most important brands in its near 70-year history is the McLaren team. While nowhere near as prominent as they used to be, they were once one of the most feared names in the business. You know, if you're under the age of 40 and refuse to look up the history of F1 past a certain year, that's the only way you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. Bruce McLaren founded Bruce McLaren Motor Racing in 1963 and was taken charge by Bruce McLaren. That's a bit of a mouthful, I know. He started his team principal career as a Tasman team and won the 1964 Tasman Series, but unfortunately, Timmy Mayer, his driver, died during practice for the first race at Tasmania. Bruce McLaren started an F1 team in 1966 as a driver, and stayed that way until his untimely death in 1970, when he crashed a Can-Am car at Goodwood during testing. In 1972, the team renamed itself to Yardley Team McLaren, and Teddy Mayer assumed control of the team after the death of Bruce in 1970, and McLaren got its first Constructors' Championship and Drivers' Championship with Emerson Fittipaldi in 1974. James Hunt won them a driver's title in 1976, and their success started to falter in the latter years of the 1970s, until 1981 when Ron Dennis became team principal. Under the helm of Ron, McLaren's F1 prowess exposed the skills and tenure of some of the most memorable names in the sport. Niki Lauda, Alain Prost, Keke Rosberg, John Watson, and Ayrton Senna all drove for McLaren during the peak in their 1980s. I can't believe I've resorted to shouting again. Jesus. By 1992, they amassed 7 Constructors' Championships and 8 Drivers' Championships, with some of the biggest names in Formula 1, and continued a subpar run of 4th places up until 1998, when the Flying Finn Mika Hakkinen stepped up to the plate to give Ferrari and Williams a goddamn arse-whooping. Twice. So he won 2 Drivers' Championships as well as the 1998 Constructors, but not the 1999 because, Ferrari got that, somehow with Mika Salo. McLaren had a car that was more than capable of winning the 2007 Constructors' title, but McLaren decided to be sneaky and spy on Ferrari, so that dream went to shit. And even when Lewis Hamilton managed to win the title by one measly point to a bawling and teary-eyed Felipe Massa, "Hello Brazil, how are you?" they still didn't win a Constructors' title. And that's when we start moving down to the rock bottom era of the McLaren history books. So why? Why did this need to happen? Well, it didn't need to happen, but fate decided to rear its ugly ass out one day and say, Hey, Mr. Whitmarsh, you're fired! And by 2015, the team had switched from Mercedes engines to Honda engines. A very well thought out and calculated decision, if you guys ever decide to use Wikipedia as your main source of information. So, since the inception of the Honda engines, we've had Fernando Alonso not being capable of smiling, memes from every walk of life touching on the Nando craze, and Alonso doing the motorsports equivalent of deactivating your Twitter for a few days in 2017 and 2018. So what does the future hold for the boffins at McLaren headquarters? Well, for 2018 they have Renault as their power unit provider, and they've used their fair share of trouble over the 2017 season. But if all things were to go to plan and the stars align for McLaren, we may find that McLaren may be a top-running team once again in the near future. Don't bet on it though. I'm not necessarily good at predicting. So that's about it for today. Join us next time when we mourn over the loss of a Ferrari Constructors' title in a special edition of F1 in a Nutshell.